So you're trying to get your first wholesale deal, but no matter how much you learn, you still feel stuck. Like, you know the basics, you've watched the videos, you maybe even talked to a few sellers, but for some reason you haven't gotten a deal yet. People tell you to put in more work, put in more time, but you're struggling as it is to find the time to work on your business. You feel like you're just missing something, but you can't figure out what it is. You get close, but for some reason it just seems like it's not working. Well, if that's you, let me tell you two things. One, I've been in your shoes. I know that feeling. I know how alone and helpless you feel. And number two, your problem is not real estate. Wholesaling isn't rocket science. The process is simple. Find a distressed property, get it under contract, and assign it to a buyer. All the big wholesalers you know in your market and all the wholesalers you see on YouTube, they all use this same simple process. But if it's so simple, why do you feel stuck? Successful wholesalers and real estate entrepreneurs have something that you may not have right now. They have something that gives them an advantage when they're talking to sellers or agents or buyers, or when they're looking for deals or running numbers. And it all comes down to this one thing: they think differently. Most people try to get their first wholesale deal without first fixing their mindset. If you want to close your first deal and eventually do this full time, you need to hack your brain with these 8 mindset shifts. You need to begin to think like a successful entrepreneur. You need to begin to think like wealthy people. If not, you'll stay stuck in a job you hate, watching other people live the life you want to live. In this video, I'm giving you 8 powerful mindset shifts that help me and can help you get your first wholesale deal and eventually replace your 9-to-5 income with real estate. And I promise you, once you make these shifts, closing your first deal will be 10 times easier. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Wholesaling Freedom channel, where I teach you exactly how I quit my 9-to-5 job and built a successful wholesaling business, and how you can do it too. If you're new here, my name is Ralph and I quit the rat race to become a full-time real estate entrepreneur, and my goal on this channel is to help you do the same. Most people think success comes down to strategy, knowledge, or even luck, but your mindset is actually the hidden force shaping your outcomes. And here's the thing: your beliefs, especially the ones buried deep in your subconscious, might be holding you back without you even realizing it. A 2018 study from the London School of Economics found that people's belief about luck and control directly impact their financial success. The study analyzed long-term earnings and found that people who believe success was based on internal control, meaning that they believe that their own actions and mindset shaped their future, these people made significantly more money than those who believe success was based on luck or external factors outside of their control. In other words, if you think your success is out of your hands, your income will reflect that. If you're walking around like a victim and believe you have no control over the outcomes of your life, then your income and your life will reflect that. Even more surprising, your mindset can literally change your body's ability to succeed. A Harvard study led by Dr. Aaliyah Crum showed that your beliefs about effort can affect your physical energy levels. In this experiment, hotel housekeepers were divided into 2 groups. One group was told that their daily work, cleaning, lifting, and moving, was actually great exercise and burned a lot of calories, and the other group was not given this information. The first group, just from believing their work was beneficial, lost weight and had lower blood pressure and improved their overall health without changing a single thing about their routine. So think about this: if a simple mindset shift can change your body's physical response, imagine what it's doing to your ability to take action, make money, or build your real estate business. If you've been stuck, overwhelmed, or second guessing yourself, the problem might not be what you're doing, it might be how you're thinking. So I want to share with you 8 mindset shifts that helped me get my first wholesale deal so that you can get unstuck and get your first wholesale deal too. Mindset number 1, change how you think about time and money. To get your first wholesale deal, you have to change how you think about time and money. Myron Golden says this all the time: it's easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than it is to make a little bit of money over a long period of time. Most people have been brainwashed into thinking that the only way to make money is to trade all of their time for a little bit of money. So they work 40 plus hours a week for a paycheck that barely covers their bills. Some work even more than that and carry the overtime hours and pay like a badge of honor, almost like it's a flex. I mean, they brag about their job giving them so much overtime. Meanwhile, in wholesaling, you might spend 5 or 10 hours working on a deal and make $10,000, $20,000 or more in one shot. That's over $1,000 an hour for your time. Even as I'm saying this, if you're watching this and never earned that much, you might be writing off what I'm saying because what I'm saying is challenging your whole worldview and belief system. But I want to challenge you to be open-minded to what I'm saying here. You often hear people say time is money, but that's a lie. Time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money, and I'll prove it to you. If I told you I was going to give you $1 million today, wired to your bank account, you would happily take me up on that offer, right? But what if I said the only condition is you have to end your life tomorrow? Immediately, without hesitation, you know that that's a bad deal because you know that whatever time you have left on this earth is worth way more than $1 million today. So time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. You can always find a way to make more money, but there's no way to extend your time on this earth. So why would you spend 40 plus hours to make $1,500 when you could spend 10 hours and make $10,000? It's because we've all been indoctrinated by schools and employers to equate time with money. We've been taught to think that working harder, working longer hours equals making more money, but that's a lie. If exchanging all your time for a little bit of money is where you find yourself today, you need to make the mindset shift now that it's easier to make a lot of money in a little bit of time than it is to make a little bit of money over a long period of time. It doesn't mean that you have to live that life today. Your life may not reflect this reality today, but start to think that way, and by thinking and believing this, your brain will start to look for and capitalize on opportunities to make a lot of money in a little bit of time. Wealthy people don't work harder. They understand that their time is limited, so they do not exchange all of their time for a little bit of money. Wealthy people work smarter, and wholesaling is one of the smartest ways to make money because it allows you to leverage your time for bigger paychecks. Mindset number 2, failure is inevitable, so fail fast. Most new wholesalers are terrified of making mistakes. I remember being new to real estate and feeling all of these scary feelings and emotions that comes from shifting your life in this way. What if I say the wrong thing to a seller? What if I can't find a buyer? What if I make a bad offer? What if I never get my first wholesale deal? These feelings of fear and failure in general are just your brain's way of keeping you safe. Your brain's job is to keep you safe and small. And so doubt and fear are ways to prevent you from doing things that your brain perceives as risky or dangerous. It's literally your brain's way of gaslighting you so you don't take risks. But you cannot let this mindset dominate you. You have to dominate it. Listen, you will mess up. You will fail. But failure is just feedback. Failure lets you know what you should be doing differently. Thomas Edison was said to have failed 10,000 times before finally creating what we know today as the modern light bulb. When asked about this, he famously said, "I have not failed, I just found 10,000 ways that don't work." Think about a baby learning to walk. Do they fail? Yes. A lot. But do they ever say, well, I guess walking just isn't for me? No, they fall and then they adjust and then they try again. Or think about a teenager learning how to drive and they fail their road test. Do they just give up and then never get their driver's license? This is how you need to approach wholesaling. The faster you just start, the faster you just take that first step, the sooner you just jump in and take imperfect action, the quicker you get the feedback from failing and use that to fuel your successes. Fail fast, learn fast so you could win even faster. Mindset number 3, focus on abundance, not lack. What you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, struggles, and what you don't have, guess what? You're gonna get more of that. Problems, struggles, and lack. If you focus on opportunities, solution, and wealth, guess what? That's what you'll attract. That's what you'll receive. In the Bible, Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he," which means that whatever you think or believe about yourself or your life will be your reality. God is a God of abundance, and he never meant for his people to live in lack. If you find yourself living in lack today, the first thing you have to do is accept responsibility for how you got there. It's a result of decisions you made. You have to take ownership for your current situation and circumstances. Stop blaming other people or other things for where you are and take ownership. And the second thing you have to do is change what you focus on. Don't spend time and energy thinking about tough times or how expensive everything is or how you don't make enough money. Don't spend all of your energy thinking about how hard you have it or how hard wholesaling is. Instead of thinking wholesaling is hard, start thinking deals are everywhere. Instead of thinking I can't find deals, start thinking sellers need my help. Instead of thinking it's too complicated, start thinking I can learn and get better every day. You get what you expect in life. The amount of money in your bank account is not a reflection of the amount of money that's available to you. Spend your mental energy by investing it in thoughts about abundance and opportunity, even if that's not your reality right now. Because when you think in abundance, you start to see opportunities everywhere. Mindset number 4, education is more valuable than entertainment. One of the biggest excuses I hear from people who are trying to start wholesaling but also work a 9-to-5 job is that they don't have enough time. And my question to them always is this: do you have Netflix? Because the reality is, if you have time to binge watch Netflix or scroll on Instagram or play video games, then you have time to learn how to get rich and change your life. I remember when I first started in this business, I was always reading, always learning, always listening to something motivational or inspiring, or listening to something that was challenging my poor, broke mindset. In fact, I still do this to this very day, because if I'm not careful, my old mindsets will easily creep back in. Here's the difference between successful wholesalers and the ones who quit. Successful wholesalers sacrifice entertainment for education. While everyone else is watching movies, they're watching videos like this one, learning and educating themselves on how to improve their skills and their business. While everyone is chilling after work, they're cold calling sellers, looking for opportunities to provide value and make a lot of money in a little bit of time. While everyone is at happy hours, they're at meetups and networking events, meeting other successful real estate entrepreneurs and building their network. If you want to be entertained, you will stay broke. Each and every day, you should be learning something new, challenging your old mindsets and creating new ones. If you're in the car, you should be listening to an audiobook instead of music. If you're at the gym, you should be listening to a podcast instead of a playlist. If you're off from work, you should be working on your mindset. If you're home on the couch, you should be learning or watching something on YouTube. You gotta make the trade. Less entertainment, more learning. Mindset number 5, change your psychology about money. This should have been number 1 because this is the biggest change I had to make. I'm a Christian, my family is Christian, and my family didn't have a lot of money growing up. And their friends didn't have a lot of money growing up. And people at my church didn't have a lot of money growing up. So I grew up around this community of hardworking people who love God, but didn't have a lot of money growing up. So my psychology about money was shaped from my surroundings and my personal experience. God's people are poor. God wants his people to be poor. Good people are poor because my parents are good and they're poor. And therefore, if good people are poor, then that must mean that rich people are. See? And this is how most people develop a negative psychology about money. They think that money is evil and rich people are greedy and wanting more money is selfish. And if this is your belief, then there is no way for you to live a reality that's in direct opposition with your internal belief systems. Subconsciously, your mind just won't allow it, and you will self-sabotage any opportunity you have to create wealth. And how this shows up in your life is by poor spending habits or overconsumption, buying things you don't need, living above your means, and so on. And this is exactly why most people stay in a position where they struggle financially. The truth is, money habits are inherited. Kids absorb their psychology about money before they ever touch a dollar. Wealth is first built in the mind and then in the bank. Here's the reality. Money is just a tool. Money in and of itself is not inherently evil, nor is it inherently good. Money does not make someone good or evil. Money is just a tool. Money is the servant and you are the master. You shouldn't feel guilty about wanting to make a lot of money. You shouldn't judge yourself for desiring wealth. God expects his people to be wealthy and live in abundance. God expects you to make and have more money than you need. That's why the Bible says in Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. This means that God expects his people to have so much wealth that they have enough for themselves and for their children and their grandchildren. So stop treating money like the enemy and start treating it like the key that can unlock the door to financial freedom. Mindset shift number 6. Your income is directly related to the amount of service you provide. This is one of the biggest secrets to success. The more value you bring to people, the more money you make. Think about this. A top heart surgeon can make almost $500,000 a year because they're providing life-saving services, while a cashier makes minimum wage because they do something almost anyone can do. In fact, many places are even replacing cashiers with self-checkout kiosks. In wholesaling, the bigger the problem you solve, the more you get paid. And if you can help a struggling homeowner avoid foreclosure or get rid of a problem property, you'll make money. The key is to stop thinking, how can I make money? And start thinking, how can I help more people? Because the more people you help, the more money you make. Think about the reach you have as a wholesaler. You can help a struggling homeowner avoid foreclosure, let them capture the equity they have in their property, and start fresh. You can also provide a buyer with an opportunity to fix up and resell the house and provide for his or her family with the profits they make. And you also have an impact on the family who buys that house in the end, and they now have a home for themselves and their family to live in for years to come. The more people you serve, the more money you make. Mindset shift number 7. Be careful who you talk to and what you talk to them about. And there's also a bonus one here. Be careful what you say about yourself. This one is a big one because we don't realize the power our words have. And for me, this was a big thing when I was trying to get my first wholesale deal. As humans, we all seek validation from other people. And so when you embark on a journey to do something great, most of the time, we don't want to wait until we accomplish that great thing to get the recognition and the praise from other people. So what we do is we tell people about the great thing we're going to do rather than just doing it. And what happens is people give you all kinds of praise and recognition just for the thought of doing the thing. You haven't even done the thing yet. In fact, you haven't even started. You just told them you're going to start, and people will give you all types of props. It's like we tell our friends we're gonna start a business and they congratulate us and give us praise and recognition just for saying we're gonna do something. And the danger with that is if you get validation too early, it kind of takes away the drive to accomplish the thing. Because again, as humans, we all seek validation from other people. So if you already got that validation, you kind of let off the gas a little bit. Now, the other side to that, and why it's even more dangerous, is this. You might be telling your dreams and plans to the wrong person, and they may discourage you or they may express some doubt in what you're about to do. And the funny thing is that it has the same effect as when you tell people and they give you validation. It kills your drive. It kills your motivation to accomplish what you wanted to do. Now, this is a success killer. You have to be able to grind in silence. You have to be willing to show people instead of telling people what you're gonna do. And in the same vein, if you want to be successful, you have to be careful about how you talk about yourself. I hear so many people saying things to themselves like, I'm such an idiot, or how could I be so stupid? And they're literally saying this about the smallest thing, like dropping some food on the floor. The way you talk about yourself will end up being your reality. So if you run around saying things like, oh, I'm so broke, or I don't think I'll ever get my first deal, you're making those things your reality. Successful and wealthy people never talk about themselves negatively. If you've ever been around successful and wealthy entrepreneurs, they openly talk about their wins. And even if they take a loss, whenever they talk about their losses, they talk about what they learned, not what they lost. They talk about how those losses help them grow and become better. They expect to win. They speak confidently about themselves, and to some people, that might seem arrogant, but to other successful, wealthy entrepreneurs, this is the norm. In fact, it's one of the driving factors of their success. They not only believe in themselves, they speak about it openly. So start talking about yourself today with more confidence. Start acknowledging the great things about you. Speak about it openly and out loud to yourself and others. And while we're on the subject about talking to yourself and talking to other people, if your goal is to be successful and wealthy, if your goal is to be a millionaire, you should only be taking advice from people that are successful and wealthy. You should be getting advice from other millionaires. You can't take advice from people who are in the same situation you're in. If you're taking financial advice or business advice from people who are broke or who do not have a successful business, it's the same thing as taking medical advice from a plumber. Sure, a plumber may know some things about medicine, but that does not mean that you should get all of your medical advice from Joe the plumber. In the same way, a medical doctor may know a lot about plumbing, but I'm not going to call a doctor for an issue that requires a licensed plumber. In the same way, if you're trying to build a successful business and you want to be a millionaire, you shouldn't take advice from people who have not built a successful business. You shouldn't take financial advice about how to become a millionaire from someone who's not a millionaire. Of course, someone who's not a millionaire may still be able to give you some valuable information about how to become a millionaire. But if your goal is to get somewhere, then you shouldn't take advice from people who are not already at where you want to be. Now, this may require you to start seeking some friends outside of your immediate circle, but this is the biggest hack to growth and growing your mindset. Talking to and being around other successful and wealthy people is a guaranteed way to jumpstart your success. All right, now let's get to the last mindset shift, but before I get into that, if you stayed to watch this video for this long, I have a free gift for you. Go to wholesalingfreedomacademy.com/mindset and I'll give you a free list of the 10 books that I read that helped me make the biggest mindset shifts, including the ones we talked about in this video. I'm not connected to any of the authors in any way and I don't get a kickback from them for promoting their books, but these 10 books have given me so much value that I wanted to share it with you. Mindset shift number 8, invest in yourself. Now this is a tough one because most Americans live their lives solely as consumers. 70% of the American GDP is consumer spending. We're trained, we're brainwashed to just buy more and more and more. We buy things we don't need and we end up over consuming. But when it comes to something like investing in yourself, that's when we see people get gun shy. The truth is, any amount of money you invest in yourself and in your education is worth infinitely more than the actual dollar amount you just spent. If you buy a new iPhone today, a year or two from now, there'll probably be 1 or 2 new iPhones released. And 5 years from now, your iPhone will be completely obsolete. But if you spend $1,000 on coaching or mentorship today to learn and refine your craft, that knowledge will stay with you forever. Even if you build a hugely successful business and then go bankrupt and lose everything, you'll still have the knowledge you initially acquired to do it all over again. And look, at the current moment in time, I'm not selling you any coaching program or mentorship program. All the stuff on my channel, I'm giving it away currently for free. But I still want to encourage you watching this to invest in yourself. It took me 18 months to do my first deal, and it probably could have been 6 months. But I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't have the right coaching and guidance. I was taking advice from people who did not have successful businesses. I was learning all on my own, and unfortunately, I paid for that with my time. The biggest hack, the biggest cheat code in life is to find someone who's accomplished what you want to accomplish and then pay them to teach you how they did it. See, there's something here called the Rumsfeld matrix. Now let me explain what that is. All knowledge is broken down into 4 quadrants. The first quadrant is what you know you know. This is knowledge that you have and that you are aware that you have. For example, you know how to read, you know how to drive, and you're aware that you know these things. The second quadrant is what you know you don't know. Basically, this is the knowledge that you know exists in the world, but you don't know it for yourself. For example, I know that neurosurgery exists, but I don't know all that there is to know about performing brain surgery. The third quadrant is what you don't know you know. These are the things that we actually know, but may not be aware that we know them. For example, you may have learned how to multiply and divide fractions in school, but you may have forgotten that you know how to do this until one day while you're baking, you find yourself having to make some substitutions for measurements. You already knew how to multiply fractions, but you just forgot or weren't aware that you knew this. And the last quadrant is what you don't know you don't know. This quadrant is infinitely bigger than all the other 3. These are the things in life that you don't know, but you're also not even aware that you don't know them. And this is where coaching and mentorship come into play, because if you're just starting out in business or in real estate, you may not have had the experiences that others have had and learned from, and this is dangerous because there are things that can impact your success, yet you don't even know that you don't know them. When you pay for coaching and mentorship, when you pay for education, you invest in yourself, and you're essentially moving those things from that 4th quadrant of what you don't know up into the 1st quadrant of what you know you know. And once it's there forever. If you want to be a successful wholesaler, if you want to get your first deal, you have to change the mindset that you have around investing in yourself. When you buy a new pair of sneakers, that money is gone and you're not going to get that money back. And the sneakers you bought are also losing value every day. But when you invest in yourself, that money is not gone. That money is turned into knowledge, and the application of that knowledge can in turn make you even more money than you spent to acquire that knowledge. I remember when I closed my first wholesale deal, I spent $8,000 to join a coaching program where I learned that you can wholesale on market deals. Now, before this, I was told that you cannot wholesale on market deals, but after joining this coaching program, I learned not only that you can in fact wholesale on market deals, but I also learned how to do it step by step. And 4 months later, I closed my first on market deal and made $9,000. I made back all the money I spent on that program on the very first deal I closed using a strategy I learned from that program. And not only that, but at this stage, I've closed hundreds of thousands of dollars of on-market deals using the information that I paid $8,000 to learn. Warren Buffett has a quote where he says, "The best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you'll earn." All right, those are the 8 mindset shifts that helped me get my first deal. And if you apply these mindsets to your life, if you hack your brain with these 8 mindsets, I guarantee you'll get your first wholesale deal 10 times faster. So if you got value out of this video, please comment below which mindset shift resonated the most with you and why, and I'll be sure to personally respond. And if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that the YouTube algorithm will continue to give you more content to help you grow and become a successful real estate entrepreneur. All right, y'all, see you on the next video.